And Antoine Semenyo there looking like he's giving a goodbye to the Bournemouth fans that made the short trip up to West London, as we know that he's on his way to Manchester City. All right, Frank, you know I'm going to have to go first to you on this one because yet again, more points dropped at home from winning positions from Chelsea. What gives?
I don't know. You know, I would have rather talked about the question that I've asked to the guys, but whatever. The producer decides. But really, I'm so disappointed. I mean, you play against Bournemouth. You have two throw-ins, and you concede 2 goals in the same way. You don't play the best teams. I mean, what Enzo Maresca is doing, really, because you play Bournemouth, you think you can play with the B team. Why you have Reece James, Neto, João Pedro, and some others on the bench? I mean, you're not in a position where you can have the choice of the king, where you can say, okay, I'm going to play my B team because it's going to be enough. I'm sorry, you cannot. Palmer is not at the top of the top, just came back, except his penalty. We didn't really see him. Garnacho has twice in a 2 throw-in was sleeping on the far post. Now we're going to miss Caicedo because all the referees see fouls when there isn't. And defensively, I'm sorry, the 4 at the back today, they were weak. So I'm disappointed because you cannot. You can lose against Aston Villa, maybe, but against Bournemouth, the way you play, no, it's impossible.
Yeah, Jürgen, what were your thoughts on the game? Because we talked about it again on the show yesterday, that it was such an outstanding stat to see how many points Chelsea have dropped just overall from being in a winning position, and majority of those points coming at home.
Yeah, obviously, those are the must-win games, especially that time in the year. You expect a little bit more. I mean, Bournemouth, especially first half, it was very entertaining. They were trying to surprise Chelsea over and over again. I mean, the 2 goals, as Frank mentions, you know, both long throw-ins from Semenyo. I mean, if he throws those balls into Haaland, that will be interesting to see then what comes out there. But I mean, if you're Chelsea, you cannot afford to get 2 goals like that. And now, you know, you miss these 2 points dearly, you know, going forward. These are the games that you really need 3 points urgently. And that makes you angry at the end of the day.
Stevie, your thoughts on the pressure mounting now on Enzo Maresca? He didn't do a post-match press conference. We do understand that he is battling an illness at the moment, but still, overall, he must be feeling some pressure.
Well, I think he is, but I don't think he's helping himself. I mean, it's just, every time Chelsea steps on the field, you've no idea who's playing. It's change after change after change. I mean, you know, they lost 2 goals from the throw-ins, but in open play, particularly in the first half, they could have lost 3 or 4 others. But you've got 3 of the back 4 who were thrown in today. Another, just so many changes, too many changes. And then the way they play, it's so open. And when you play against a team like Bournemouth, who will play open attacking football, regardless of whether they're home, away, or wherever, then you're asking for trouble. And in some ways, they're lucky they didn't lose today. Yeah. But again, the biggest thing for me watching today is more changes. It's just getting old. It's change after change. And eventually, he's going to have to get an 11 and then trust them that they can play 5, 6, 7 games without making all these changes all the time. Otherwise, they're just going to go up and down and no consistency.
And the roller coaster continues. Shaka, you seem to agree with Stevie when you said Maresca's not helping himself.
He's not. And because the question then becomes why the changes, right? It's not as though we're in a Champions League week, and even so, the league is your bread and butter. Take care of your league. And you look at the league table now, all of a sudden, Chelsea are 5th behind Liverpool. 3 weeks ago, we really thought Arne Slot was in danger of getting the sack, talking about being under pressure. Now, all of a sudden, it's Liverpool who are in 4th position ahead of Chelsea. So all that pressure that Slot was under 3 weeks ago, you totally understand Maresca being under. Take care of the league, because I don't understand the changes and the need for them. Sitting at this point, when you're not playing champion, and then again, your league is your better bread and butter. I have to say, and while we rightly criticize Maresca for the changes, again, I mean, watching today's performance, Liam Delap, he really didn't offer anything. No. And you almost feel João Pedro, who prefers to maybe sit in that hole, is being thrust into this position of playing as a number 9, which is not his best position, but Chelsea's best option in that position. So you just look at this team, and it just is so full of holes that, you know, again, given Chelsea spending, given that this is Maresca's second season in charge, you would have thought he'd have a better grip on that by now.
So, Frank, yet again, a lot more questions about Chelsea. If you're playing the blame game now, are you blaming it solely now, at least these recent performances, on Maresca or the players or the board?
Well, the players, Maresca first, and I agree with the guys, and I mentioned the fact that we don't know the best 11 at Chelsea because he makes so much rotations so many rotations that we don't even know who's going to play every game that we see Chelsea. So, yeah, Maresca has to be blamed. I guess the players who play, and today the players who played, haven't been performant whatsoever. And I was waiting for much more from Liam Delap, from the back four as well. He had to change, had to put sometimes, you know, what is his name, Malo Gusto on the left side. Okay, but it's not enough. It's never enough. It's not compact. I don't feel the chemistry. We talked about last time the fact that they don't have experience. And Stevie made a very good point last show where he said, well, no experience. It's time to come because they are not like 20, 21. Some of them are 25, 26, so they start and they should be more experienced. We don't see that. So it's overall a problem that they have to solve in the dressing room. But there is one person who decides for the individuals, and that's the coach. And for me, the rotation doesn't work.
Yeah, Jürgen, we're just looking at that very damning stat of Chelsea that they just have 1 win in their last 7 Premier League games. If this continues, do you see Enzo Maresca surviving at Chelsea for the rest of the season?
Oh, I definitely see him surviving until the end of the season. But I also think that obviously they have to turn things a bit towards the better way and utilize their chances better. I mean, I look back at today at that game, 12 minutes before the end. Enzo Fernandez had a huge chance to make it 3-2. If that ends 3-2, we have a completely different discussion. And so they have to find ways now in these grinding times, you know, over Christmas, New Year's, and then going into the second part of the season where they get their results right and climb up in the table. I mean, they are 5th now. They're in the chase for the Champions League spots. And but I don't see that there will be any problems now for the coach in this moment.
All right. Well, I'm sure Enzo Maresca has a lot to think about in terms of any more recruitments Chelsea can afford in the January transfer window to add to that already very large squad. Anyways, we'll be taking your questions over on Extra Time. We've got Frank, Shaka and Stevie on call to answer them, so make sure to tune in on YouTube.